South Africa, officially the Republic of South Africa, RSA, is the southernmost country in Africa. It is bounded to the south by 2,798 kilometers, 1,739 miles, of coastline of southern Africa stretching along the South Atlantic and Indian Oceans, to the north by the neighbouring countries of Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, and to the east and northeast by Mozambique and Eswatini, Swaziland, and it surrounds the enclaved country of Lesotho. South Africa is the largest country in southern Africa and the 24th largest country in the world by land area and, with over 58 million people, is also the world's 24th most populous nation. It is the southernmost country on the mainland of the Old World or the Eastern Hemisphere, and the most populous country located entirely south of the equator, although Tanzania is not far behind. About 80% of South Africans are of Bantu ancestry, divided among a variety of ethnic groups speaking different African languages, 9 of which have official status. South Africa is located at the southernmost region of Africa, with a long coastline that stretches more than 2,500 kilometers 1,553 miles and along two oceans, the South Atlantic and the Indian. At 1,219,912 square kilometers 471,011 square miles, according to the UN Demographic Yearbook, South Africa is the 24th largest country in the world. It is about the same size as Colombia, twice the size of France, 3 times as big as Japan, 4 times the size of Italy and 5 times the size of the United Kingdom. Mafadai in the Drakensberg at 3,450 meters 11,320 feet is the highest peak in South Africa. Excluding the Prince Edward Islands, the country lies between latitudes 22 degrees and 35 degrees south, and longitude 16 degrees and 33 degrees east. The name South Africa is derived from the country's geographic location at the southern tip of Africa. Upon formation, the country was named the Union of South Africa in English and Unie van Zuid-Afrika in Dutch, reflecting its origin from the unification of 4 formerly separate British colonies. Since 1961, the long formal name in English has been the Republic of South Africa and Republiek van Zuid-Afrika in Afrikaans. Since 1994, the country has had an official name in each of its 11 official languages. Mzansi, derived from the Xhosa noun Umzansi meaning south, is a colloquial name for South Africa, while some Pan-Africanist political parties prefer the term Azania. South Africa has a generally temperate climate, due in part to being surrounded by the Atlantic and Indian Oceans on 3 sides, by its location in the climatically milder southern hemisphere and due to the average elevation rising steadily towards the north, towards the equator, and further inland. Due to this varied topography and oceanic influence, a great variety of climatic zones exist. The climatic zones range from the extreme desert of the southern Namib in the farthest northwest to the lush subtropical climate in the east along the border with Mozambique and the Indian Ocean. Winters in South Africa occur between June and August. If you are required to have a visa, don't arrive without one, as they are not issued at points of entry. If needed, you can extend your visa in South Africa. With an extension, the total amount of time you are allowed to stay is 6 months. By car, should you be entering from one of the other countries in southern Africa, you might want to do so by car. South Africa operates a number of land border posts between itself and immediately neighbouring countries. By plane, South Africa is a major hub for air travel in the southern African region. The country's flag carrier, South Africa Airways, SAA, has an extensive global and Pan-African network of connections, some of which are operated by its short-haul subsidiaries SA Airlink and SA Express. By bus, by train. By boat, most of the larger cruise lines, such as Princess Cruises, offer Cape Town as one of their destinations, but you can also try something different. Getting around. By plane, South Africa has a well-established domestic air travel infrastructure with links between all major centers. There are multiple daily flights to all the major airports within the country. Contact any of the airlines for details. By car, driving can be a practical way for getting around in South Africa. For instance, national parks are some of the country's foremost attractions, but they are rarely served by public transport. Visitors hiring or buying a car is fairly common. By bus, there are scheduled bus services between Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban and other cities, with stops in between, as well as connections to neighbouring countries. By train, the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA, is the national rail operator. There are budget passenger services between major South African cities, known as Xhosa Mail, and luxury services, known as Premier Class, between Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. By bicycle, cycling is probably the best way to experience the country, as you really get to admire the views and get the opportunity to mingle with the locals. It could be considered unsafe to cycle through the cities because of crime and reckless drivers. However, Cape Town is somewhat bicycle-friendly with several bike lanes. There are many farm/dirt roads throughout South Africa. By thumb, hitchhiking in South Africa is not so hard, but most people will think you are catching a ride with the local taxis and thus expect you to pay. You may want to tell them you are looking for a free ride before climbing aboard. South Africa has 11 official languages, namely Afrikaans, Southern Ndeb, Xhosa, Zulu, Swazi, Northern Sotho, Southern Sotho, Tswana, Xitsonga, Venda and English. Afrikaans is the mother tongue of the majority of the white and colored population. Often Afrikaans is incorrectly called African or African by foreigners. This is very incorrect, as African for a South African corresponds with the native African languages, Zulu, Xhosa, Pedi, etc. And, of course, there are thousands of languages in Africa, so no single language can be called African. Afrikaans has roots in 17th century Dutch dialects, so it can be understood by Dutch speakers and sometimes deciphered by German speakers. Other widely spoken languages are Zulu, mainly in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa's largest single linguistic group, and Xhosa, mainly in the Western Cape and Eastern Cape, Sotho and Venda. This changes, according to the region you are in. Hundreds of thousands of visitors come to South Africa every year to see the country's many natural and cultural attractions. From wild elephants to stunning landscapes, cave paintings, colonial heritage and bustling townships, South Africa is an enchanting land of contradictions and great beauty. Some of the best ways visitors can explore South Africa's natural, scenic and cultural experiences, apart from private-run enterprises, are provided by state-developed entities such as the various provincial park boards and national nature reserves. Wildlife. South Africa is the most popular safari destination in the world, and for many visitors a glance at the Big Five and other wildlife is a must. The iconic Kruger National Park in Mpumalanga is surely the most famous place to have that glance, but Addo Elephant National Park in the Eastern Cape is another popular pick. The vast dry plains of the Kagalagadi Transfrontier Park with its migratory herds of wild beast covers parts of both South Africa and Botswana. Along the border with Mozambique, another Transfrontier Park, the Isimangaliso Wetland Park, offers very different landscapes and fauna. For scuba divers, South Africa's underwater wildlife has a lot to offer, with the annual sardine run being a highlight. The popular seaside town of Hermanus is probably the best place in the world to go whale watching, with cage diving opportunities with great white sharks for the truly adventurous. Botanical nature. South Africa's landscapes are grand and diverse, varying from flat desert scrublands to lush green coastal areas and high peaks. The view from the famous, flat-top Table Mountain is a classic Africa experience. Also in the Cape Town region, the beautiful beaches attract thousands of sun lovers. The green coastal garden route is a great natural experience, passing countless lagoons, several interesting towns and the beautiful Tsitsikama National Park. The Agrabais Falls National Park boasts a 60 m high waterfall. Close to the Kruger Park is God's Window and Blood River Canyon, the largest green canyon in the world. Not far from there are the high peaks of the Drakensberg mountain range. The Ukhalamba Drakensberg Park is one of the country's 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites for its exceptional natural beauty and the many cave paintings found there. The Namakwaland transformation from a dry monochromatic landscape into a colorful myriad of flowering during spring season, is a sight to behold, but there are many others including areas of the Kalahari Desert, where stubborn endemic life forms defy the harsh environment and thrive. Cultural heritage. Large numbers and some of the oldest hominid fossils have been found in South Africa, especially in the cradle of humankind, another World Heritage Site. Over 30 different caves held important fossils, but the caves of Sterkfontein are perhaps the most important one at the site. Far more recent, the 17th century Castle of Good Hope in beautiful Cape Town is one of the cultural heritage sites from colonial times. Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was famously imprisoned, has become a major destination. For more insight in the apartheid times, visit the District 6 Museum in Cape Town or the Apartheid Museum in Johannesburg. Things to do in South Africa. Hot air ballooning, the cradle of mankind in Gauteng near Johannesburg, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Western Cape offer some spectacular balloon safaris. Booking arrangements can be made through a variety of operators easily found online. River rafting. The Orange River on the border to Namibia is a popular destination for rafting tours. Several tour operators launch 4 to 6 day trips in blow-up boats from Vioalsdrift with camping under the stars. Hiking and mountaineering are very popular in the highlands of KwaZulu-Natal and in certain areas of the Eastern and Western Cape. Advance bookings may be essential to secure a place as some eco-sensitive places allow only a limited number of people to visit per year. Rugby union, cricket, and soccer are all popular spectator sports, traditionally associated with Afrikaner, Anglo-South African and Black South African culture respectively, although this has changed, and the Springboks, national rugby union team, has had a lot of black fans at least since the 1995 World Cup, hosted in South Africa, when South Africa won with Nelson Mandela, then president, in attendance wearing a Springbok jersey. Friends of the Rail are based in Pretoria. This non-profit preservation society looks after steam locomotives and period rolling stock. Steam train outings are organized regularly, departing in the morning from their own station in Hermanstad, Pretoria, and arriving in Cullinan for an extended stopover, allowing sufficient time for lunch or a picnic before returning to base in the afternoon. The Magaliesburg steam train is another vintage steam train trip, operated by South African Railways, Transnet. It departs Johannesburg's main park station in the morning once or twice per month, offering a day-long scenic tour through the nearby Magaliesburg Mountains. A packed lunch or picnic basket is essential. Battle sites. Many well-documented Zulu Indigenous, Boer Indigenous, Zulu British, and Boer British war sites are well kept, easy to access and worthwhile a visit. Mostly found in the KwaZulu-Natal province, the War Museum in Johannesburg can provide maps and literature to help one plan a tour of where to go. Self-driving tours. Due to the size of the country and well-developed extent of the national road network, a practical and fulfilling way of seeing the country is by driving through. The natural beauty of areas like Golden Gate, God's Window, the Garden Route, the Wild Coast, St. Lucia and Cape Vital, offer the leisurely vacationer unskeptic to mingle with locals or stay in farmsteads, a wide variety of tinkling sensations not experienced any other way. Motor racing in Gauteng is a regular calendar event, with Kyalami and Swartkops Raceway facilities being among others, the main backdrops for all sorts of top-notch national and regional 2- and 4-wheel competitions. South Africa is a must-visit destination, known for several distinct ecosystems, famous for Kruger National Park, beaches, and the flat-top Table Mountain. South Africa, Africa's tourism and travel jewel, is a country on the southernmost tip of the African continent, marked by several distinct ecosystems. Inland safari destination Kruger National Park is populated by big game. The Western Cape offers beaches, lush winelands around Stellenbosch and Paarl, craggy cliffs at the Cape of Good Hope, forest and lagoons along the Garden Route, and the city of Cape Town, beneath flat-top Table Mountain. Thank you for watching this video.